All right, welcome back to another episode of AWM Insights. We are going to kick off a little mini series here on building a best-in-class portfolio. And question number one is really foundational question is, why do you actually need one? Really, we want to kick this off with a first principles understanding of how to think about this, how to think about developing a solid portfolio structure. Always got to start with why. Why are we even having this conversation? Why is this something we really talk about and kind of live and breathe and focus on with clients on a daily basis? So to kick things off, let's set out to answer that question. Like, why are we having this question, or why am I asking you, Mena, this question around what is a best-in-class portfolio and why do you need one?
Yeah, and why you need a best-in-class portfolio really is the investment side ties into how you operate in life. As a professional athlete, you don't set out to accomplish a goal without a process or without a general plan.
Hopefully no one's doing that, by the way. You don't just have to be a professional athlete, but you need a process, you need a plan in place.
Yeah, you always need a plan. Whether you're running a marathon, doing an Ironman, you need a plan to figure out how you're going to tackle this large feat ahead of you. And managing your money, managing your wealth, your multi-generational wealth, hopefully, is no different. So having that plan, unfortunately, is hard to follow, but having it helps you get over and ride, I would say, past some of the noise that you'll hear in the media, on social media, some things that you'll hear in social settings from friends, family, and also just keep your own emotions in check. You know, we all experience FOMO. You don't want to miss the next Bitcoin or whatever fad trend there is. So there's a lot of distractions there, and it's really hard to overcome those distractions if you don't have a plan. If you look it up in, just online or use any AI tool, best-in-class portfolio, the result that you're probably going to get is a well-structured and diversified collection of assets. That's a good starting spot. We take it a step further and we tailor those assets to you, your family, your life goals, your mission. So there is alignment between what you actually own, what you invest in, and what you're trying to accomplish, under this assumption and this knowledge that everyone is different. Every investor is different. The investment journey is different. What you're trying to accomplish is always going to be different from, maybe someone else in the locker room. And getting that customization is the best way of actually setting up a process that will help you achieve your goals.
Yeah, it's awesome. Our great friend, Brian Kane, mental performance coach, one of the best out there, often says it, and Kane, or I might be butchering you if you're listening to this, but you're getting the results for the process that you have, essentially, is what it boils down to. And, if you don't have a process around building a good portfolio, chances are you might be setting yourself up for crappy results or subpar results. So great old quote there that certainly applies to this topic that we're talking about today. So let's dig a little bit deeper in this conversation and get more granular, more tangible. So what are the whys? Whys, let's call it version 2. You gave a great foundational first principle, kind of more qualitative why you want a process, why we need a process. But what are the outcomes of that, or the results from having a good process around developing an investment portfolio?
Yeah, and we talked about the long-term, I guess, outcome is just more wealth, ideally, and a better experience. In the short term, you're going to have also benefits that I think are more tangible and relatable. If you have a well-structured portfolio, if you're diversified, you're going to be able to ride the bumps in the market and have just a nicer experience. There's always going to be turbulence, but think about it as like a car with a better suspension. You hit a rough patch, you're going to feel it a lot less in the cabin if your car's suspension is built for the task at hand. So I would say that's one of the short-term benefits. The long-term benefits too, which come from some of these short-term comforts, it's going to help you stay the course. You're not going to be pulling over. You're not going to be changing cars. You're going to stay, in the process on your journey. And ultimately, that's really how you get to your destination. You just stay on the track. You stay on the road. So helping you stay comfortable, helping you avoid some pretty tough times. And actually a month ago, we were in a pretty tough time.
Totally. Yeah.
April 8th was not a fun day to be an investor, but April 9th was actually a great day to be an investor. So yeah.
Well, on that point, right, if you don't have a process that helps you get through those bad days, if you miss the 10 worst days or 10 best days, they can have drastic impacts on your overall results, and picking those days ahead of time is nearly impossible. We just don't know, and they're often right next to each other.
Yeah, and you just always have to show up. You won't win a championship if you just show up to the easy games.
Yeah, totally.
If you just want to cash that easy check, this is not the business for you. You have to be there for the ups, but also unfortunately experience the downs. That's how markets really function, and we don't know what games are going to go well for us and what games are going to go poorly.
And one thing we always really focus on is the personal achievements that portfolios allow you to do. Right? You made the comment that no two investors are the same. Every portfolio should be unique and really customized, tailored to an individual's and family's unique goals. And by having that process, by knowing what is important, what type of impact you want to have, what type of legacy or multi-generational focus, the way a portfolio and the process in which you can structure a portfolio gives you a heck of a lot more likelihood of meeting those goals. And that's really something that we take as almost the most important success metric, right? We can talk about benchmarks, et cetera, and those are good, but like at the end of the day, the most important benchmark is whether or not you're meeting your goals as what is important to you in life. So what can we avoid by having a sound portfolio construction process or a best-in-class portfolio construction process?
Yeah, we can avoid being swayed by, general noise. We talked about it. Emotions are easily triggered by these headlines, these things that we see on Instagram, Reels, all this stuff. So it'll help us block that out. It'll also help us from getting burned if, unfortunately, there is a situation where there's too much exposure in one asset. Mm-hmm. When you lack diversification, you can get burned. That's what you're really leaving yourself open to. So really, really big swings in the market could potentially wipe you out. And being diversified reduces, if not eliminates, the odds of having one of those events. So that's another big piece.
And it's also, I would say, worth acknowledging that it's not waving this magic wand and like you're not going to feel the emotions around any of this type of stuff, but the process should give you confidence and help you sleep at night to give you that pause and say, oh, I don't need to react to that current market environment. We were prepared ahead of time. Or, oh, I don't need to go chase this one stock because all of a sudden it's done exceptionally well, right? The process is there to help you process those emotions that will be there, but you don't want to react to them, right? It's okay to have those emotions. It's human. Everyone does, but if you can go back to your process, go back to your training, right? Exactly like you do in a game or giving a presentation or whatever the case may be, you prepare ahead of time for those events. We're going to start to try to bring this home here and look at more long-term. I know we've touched on it a little bit, but if we can build this best-in-class process, it helps us achieve our goals. It helps preventing reaction and some of those common pitfalls that we know and hear about. But really, from a long-term investor perspective, what are the big benefits, the big drivers here of why we're even having this conversation?
I think one of the biggest ones is there's actually more certainty that you don't get in your own way and you actually achieve what you're trying to achieve. you talked about this concept of being reactive, and I'll just apply it to myself. I'm going through a bulk. There's trying to get stronger, trying to get bigger. I'm not trying to chase the fad diets or fad routines out there. I am just staying disciplined, going at it one day at a time, making sure that I'm consistent at the gym, making sure I'm eating well. All of these small incremental things help you get there. And deviating from the course, not being disciplined, not being consistent, that derails your journey to ideally success and the outcomes that you really lay out when you work with us in terms of what you're trying to accomplish. So really just following your path, not getting swayed by the noise, not shifting your plans constantly. That's really the big thing. And then also there's just resilience during uncertain times. Things aren't always going to go well, but just sticking to the plan, having belief in the plan. This is really what we've done. We've looked at hundreds of years of data and established really what the best and most certain route forward is for our clients, and built this plan. So yeah,
there's a good analogy on that point too. It's like injury prevention. A lot of you are either professional athletes or can appreciate what it takes to pursue perfection in something, but you don't just focus on scoring a touchdown or winning that one deal in a single meeting. If that's the case, you stretch, you recover, you prepare, you debrief, you do all of this.
Watch tape, yeah.
Yeah, you watch tape, right? There's not that singular moment, right? There's all the preparation before, all the preparation after, reflecting and refocusing. Diversification and smart asset allocation are your financial warm-ups and cool-downs. They help really protect your wealth from unexpected setbacks, really. I think it's a great analogy. So awesome. I think hopefully that's super helpful. Again, really wanted to give a first principles kind of approach to how we think about best-in-class portfolio construction and start with the why. There's a lot there, but it's super, super important to explain kind of how we think about it. And then from here, we're going to go to the how. But I want to wrap and just kind of conclude that the portfolio is foundational to your financial success, resilience, and hopefully peace of mind. And the process should reflect that seriousness, that level. And that's certainly the responsibility that we take for you all, especially if you're your clients. So we will get into how at the next episode. And hopefully this was helpful. Until then, own your wealth, make an impact, and always be a pro.